Thanks so much for tuning in to San Diego Market Movers Question of the Week. It's a great day because I have Chad Basinger joining me today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I love having you, and I want to talk about the affordability crisis that we have here in San Diego. What's driving it, and then how do we solve it?
Those are two really, really good questions. And I know we're in a studio, but one of the main things driving, I would say, take a look outside. It's 90 degrees, sunny, and blue skies. So quite frankly, it's the weather because we live in America's finest city and people want to be here. So the affordability is a function of supply and demand, and the demand is so great. And it's interesting that it took a pandemic to kind of make people realize that they could probably work anywhere. So with that being the case, people have decided, hey, I might as well live in America's finest city where we can do whatever we want year round. And so we've got these people coming from these other places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego was relatively cheap compared to these areas. So these people who work at Apple and Google, they're coming down and they got a ton of money. And so that's a big driver of this huge demand, which is lifting the prices, which is leading to this affordability crisis. That's one thing. You've also got a lot of big Wall Street companies that I think have bought a lot of properties in bulk and stuff, and then they're just renting them out. So they're not for people to actually, and obviously people can rent them, but it's not for homeowners. So that has sucked up some of the supply as well. So that's, I mean, those are some major things as far as affecting the affordability.
Right, and the lack of homes.
The lack of homes, of course, that's the major driver, right? The inventory level. So, like for example, in Poway, it used to be for the longest time there'd be about 120 to 160 homes on the market at any point in time. Then for the last 5 years, it's kind of like 60 homes. As of this morning, there were 18 homes of any single price, any size, in all of Poway.
Wow.
So there's such little supply, and so when something comes on the market,
it's gone.
It's gone, and with multiple offers and so many well-qualified buyers. And, you know, it's interesting. Another thing as far as trying to fix the problem is like you either look at the demand or the supply side of things. Well, the demand is tough because I always say unless there's some major catastrophe here in San Diego, like an earthquake that just wipes us off the map, San Diego is always going to be a desirable place to live. We've got miles and miles of coastline, Legoland, SeaWorld, the zoo, Wild Animal Park, the Padres. I don't know if that's really a draw, but we've got the Padres still.
Right, yes.
So there's so many great things here. So the demand is going to be tough to like stop. So you look at the supply side of things. Well, of course, land, people need land in order to build. Well, land is a finite thing. So you're running out of places to build. Of course, anything they build now, usually it's smaller lots and they have to build up. So you kind of have to look at the existing supply of properties, and perhaps, you know, what they've done is allowed a lot of places to have people put ADUs on their property. So then that increases the supply where people can maybe rent out a room or something. But I don't really know if that's going to help the affordability. It's just a really tough question, and I'm not quite sure there really is a solution.
Right. I mean, I think we're far behind the 8 ball in terms of how many homes we can build per year per how many people are out of a house right now. So it'll be interesting to see what the government does. I think government regulated is very important, you know, whether it's like a shared equity with the government. They're going to have to become crafty, I think, in order to help people get into affordable housing.
Yeah.
And build affordable housing at that point.
Right. I mean, they make it very tough for builders here in San Diego to build properties. It's a pretty onerous process. I mean, I know one of my clients is a Poway builder, and he just said he'll never build another home in Poway just because of the process. And this is someone who had ins with the city. So if they relax some of the standard, whatever it is, to make it easier, perhaps. But like I said, land is finite. So even if it is easy to build the process, it's like, where do you build? And then, of course, people say they want to help with the affordability crisis, but then whenever there's a new development, for example, the farms in Poway, people go up in arms and like, hey, we don't want all these homes and all the traffic and how that's going to impact our school and stuff. So it's a very tough situation.
It is.
And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because they're like, hey, my kids, when they grow up, they're not going to be able to afford a house. So what do we do?
I know.
So
It'll be interesting to see. Well, thank you so much for answering the tough question. I guess we're going to have to see in a year what happens. I appreciate you joining me at San Diego Market Movers Question
Thanks for
of the
having
Week.
me.
Anytime.